It is 6:30 p.m. and I call to order I forgot the date already.
19th.
Thank you. November 19th, 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. We do have a quorum present, and we need to consider the approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Aram, second by Francesca. Vote now, please. Motion carries 6-0. Second item of business is a regular hearing. It's the consideration of the alternative standards associated with ground-mounted equipment standards for Walmart on 20.9714 acres located at 190 East Brown Grove Road, FM 3040, legally described as Lot 2, Block A, Campbell Ranch, zoned light industrial, as requested by Juan excuse me if I mess up your names, Morera of Kimley Horn on behalf of the owner, Walmart Real Estate Business Trust, 240812, alt standard.
Good evening, Commissioners. Walmart has been expanding its drone delivery services. Currently, drone services are already available in Lewisville at the Walmart off of Main Street, but it's now expanding its services to the Walmart off of Brown Grove Road. The provider for this Walmart will be a drone operator called Zipline, and the way that they operate, they have these charging towers and docking stations, which is where the drones will be charged and also where the goods for delivery will be picked up. Okay, it's up there. So they're requesting alternative standards to not require the screening for ground-mounted equipment. The way the standard is currently written, they would have to screen the total height of their towers. The charging towers are 29 feet and the dock towers are approximately 21 feet, which makes screening a bit tough to do. The way that they're proposing the site to be set up, they will have 9 of the charging towers in the southwest corner of the store and the 2 dock towers that will receive the goods on the western portion. For the southwest corner, the towers are slightly below, or about 12 feet below, I believe, the grade of Business 121, which is here on this side, the travel lanes. So they'll be partially obscured from the travel lanes, but there will still be a portion that you will be able to see above. But in addition to the grade difference, they are also proposing planting additional trees in the back there that will also help to obscure, although the towers are still expected to be able to be seen from portions of the travel lane. For the 2 dock stations on the west side, they will also be fully visible from the travel lanes. There is already existing a tree line that lines 121, and the as-built approved plans for that Walmart showed that there was a tree directly across there that must have died within the past couple years or so. So as a part of this standard, they will replace that tree. But like I said, it'll still be visible from parts of the travel lane. But when measured, these towers are about 200 feet set back from the road, so it won't be, super present from the road. Staff recommends approval because we are currently working on a drone ordinance that will help meet the needs of this new technology. Our current development code is not quite, I guess, hasn't been written to account for the way that this technology has evolved. And so we've been working closely both with, cities in the DFW area who have already approved drone ordinances, as well as talking with the drone operators themselves and understanding their needs to create an ordinance that best, fits the needs for the city. And so under that proposed ordinance that is still yet to be seen by P&Z and Council, alternative standards would not have been required because we don't currently plan on screening charging stations or docking stations. So staff recommends approval. The applicant is also here and available to give a quick presentation on their operations and how they expect to function if you guys have any additional questions. So, should they go ahead and come up for that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they'll go ahead and do a quick presentation now. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Would it work? Okay.
We'll see. If the videos work, great.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Okay.
All right. Perfect. Let me see if I can start this presentation. I think it's this one right here, right?
If you will state your name and address, please.
Absolutely. So Mark Bergman, address is going to be 702 Southwest 8th Street, Bentonville, Arkansas, 72716.
Thank
so
you.
I would like to say thanks first and foremost for the opportunity to be here tonight and to bring the city of Lewisville its second opportunity when it comes to drone delivery. So I'm joined here tonight by Juan from Kimley Horn to speak on any civil questions when it comes to the site plan, as well as Stephanie from Zipline to basically help us address any of the questions related to the actual drone and the tech itself. So myself, like I mentioned, I'm from Walmart, and I've been with the drone delivery team for the past 3 years now. It's kind of hard to say that, but 3 years, yes, we've been making a lot of great progress when it comes to drone delivery. And what I'm going to be here tonight for is just basically to kind of explain the why drone delivery, as well as kind of explain a little bit about the market that we see here in Lewisville, and then provide some of the use cases for drone delivery as well. So I've got to say, first and foremost, the number one reason why drone delivery is we're seeing customer behavior adapt and change and evolve. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was a teenager and I was looking at a Crutchfield catalog, looking for a tape deck for my car, and I was able to place that order for that tape deck, and it would come to me in about 4 to 6 weeks. So a lot has changed since then. I've got my daughters that are over in Texas Tech in college, and they're not afraid to call me late at night and say, "Dad, I'm studying. Would you mind ordering me some food?" And me thinking I could be a great dad and kind of far away, I'm able to kind of place that order and get my daughters that food like within an hour. So that's pretty nice and amazing. And then I've got my wife that she's found a way to celebrate Christmas more than once a year, and we've got packages arriving at our front doorstep more than once a year. So that's for sure. I would just leave it at that. So what we've seen though is overall we've seen a growth in online orders. With the pandemic, it was like gasoline on a fire. And what we've found is that not only do customers really enjoy this as an option to meet some of their shopping needs, but they're telling their friends and their families, and that demand is not just staying steady, it's growing. So what we see here is drone delivery as one of the solutions that's going to provide us with an option to deliver small items to customers within less than 30 minutes. And as far as the use cases, and before I get to the use cases, I just got to say, we've seen that demand grow, just like you're seeing the city of Lewisville grow. I see a lot of construction. I've been all around today, and I've got to say, I'm always impressed with how much growth is always going around in the Dallas market. Plus, we've got our Dallas Innovation Hub here for Walmart, and this is where we get a chance to kind of try a lot of new technology and bring the customers for Walmart here some of these new opportunities. So with drone delivery, what I've got to say real quick is just the use cases on what we see. I've been, like I said, with the company for quite a bit of time doing this, and the use cases continue to grow. But I've got two that I think that come to mind that are my favorite. Number one, I think about my parents who are getting a little bit older in age, and if they ever need anything, I mean, I'm just thinking over-the-counter medicine, and I'm able to get Advil or any sort of medication to them from a distance, a lot like what I'm doing for my daughters that are over in Texas Tech. The other use case that I really like to see is the fact whenever we've got new parents and you're at home with your newborn baby and you're thinking, I've got to get that diaper rash cream when I can, where I can, or those wipes. Now you've got that option of being able to get it delivered by drone less than 30 minutes, so just in time before the actual need again, and extra nap time for everybody involved. So, I mean, that's a huge benefit. So like I said, see tons of use cases, and I think this is a great opportunity. And with that, I was just going to bring up Juan from Kimley Horn to kind of talk through how we're going to be able to do that here for Lewisville in our Walmart store.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Juan Moreta, address 10101 in Reunion Place, San Antonio, Texas. And my last name, you're pretty much on point, so thank you. Staff did a pretty good job at presenting our overall site plan. I just want to go over the reasons why we selected the place where we put the towers. So the two loading towers next to the building is where the packages will be loaded. So the same employees who are bringing out your packages for regular pickup will also be using those towers. So we try to place as close as possible to those pickup door. The charging towers themselves, located at the back of the building, will only be used for maintenance. So it's the reason why it's tucked away. And we also try to avoid any existing easements on site and try to maintain the parking ratio for the site overall, which on this site, we're not taking any spaces. So as mentioned by staff, we are working to replace that tree that died over the years, and as well as placing new trees near the charging stations to further help add landscaping around that fence. But overall, if you have any additional site plan questions, I'm here to answer any. And I know the main star of the show will be the zipline team who can present on the technology of the drones.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Cook. I'm here with Zipline. The address is 333 Corey Way, South San Francisco, 94080. And yeah, really excited to be presenting to you all tonight on the technology. So drone delivery is really something of the future, has been called something of the future, and excited tonight to be telling you that it is coming to DFW soon. Here are a few news articles. For example, the Dallas Morning News really saying that Zipline is coming to DFW soon, and drone delivery is no longer something of the future, but coming really any day now. So yeah, excited to be sharing more on that and happy to answer any questions towards the end. So a little bit about Zipline as a company. We are the world's largest drone delivery service. We, to date, have done more than 1.2 million autonomous flights. And a stat I like to highlight is that somewhere around the world, somebody is receiving a delivery once a minute. And that's really exciting. We started doing deliveries in 2016. We like to say our background is in saving lives because those deliveries were in Rwanda. And at that time, we were solving some really tough logistical challenges, providing blood and critical medical products all across that country. We had a tremendous impact. The Wharton actually produced a study showing that we were able to reduce women's in-hospital maternity deaths by more than 51%, which is really impressive. And that impact has kind of been able to spread all across Africa. We've expanded both in volume and geographically. Africa, Asia, and now obviously coming to the US. So we're really excited to be here. Walmart is obviously our anchor partner. We have a site with them in Arkansas where we're piloting the technology, and we're coming to DFW to launch at scale. Zipline's headquarters are in California, but we will be opening a local regional hub here in DFW very soon. So stat that I like to highlight is that this year alone, there are going to be 5 billion packages that will be delivered from on-demand apps, and that doesn't even include FedEx, UPS, or other delivery services. And all of those packages rely on roads and infrastructure that's hundreds of years old and really are not equipped to really meet that demand, which is expected to continue to increase. So that's why we invented Platform 2. Our drone delivery service is here to save you time, provide safer roads by getting cars off the road, and also provide economic opportunities, as well as the example Mark gave with improved access. We're really excited for use cases where instead of mom having to get in the car and take the children to Walmart to pick up whatever medication or products might be needed, it can be delivered in under 30 minutes to their home. So it's really providing a very quick and convenient service, providing everyday needs. So what does this technology look like? Here's a video. Let's get it to play. All right. Let's see if this works. Let me give it another go. Aha. All right, although I don't think everybody's seeing my screen right now.
I think you may have to exit out
Out the PowerPoint?
or like exit out presenting.
Okay, so now, is it a parallel desktop? Let's see. No, there it is. Okay. I'm gonna restart that. Okay, so this is what the technology looks like. A package is loaded from inside a store that's not at a Walmart, inside the droid. This is a smaller drone. The droid then gets loaded up from this is the technology, the ground infrastructure that we'll dive into more in a second. But that smaller drone then goes into a larger drone that's called a zip. And from there, the zip is gonna take off. You'll notice the flight pattern is more of a J-shaped, so it's gonna go straight up to about 300 feet. So the drone doesn't fly over the parking lot, it really goes straight up to that delivery altitude, and then it's gonna stay at that altitude at all times during the delivery. So it flies over to the delivery location, and then it will lower down that smaller droid that I mentioned on a winch, and that droid is going to deliver the package at the location of a customer's choosing. And the droid is hyper precise, so it can deliver within pretty much a 3-foot radius, and it could be delivered, for example, to your front yard, backyard, and here's a happy customer coming out to pick up his package. So that's kind of the process from beginning to end. At that point, the drone will return to the Walmart, to that docking infrastructure that Juan was mentioning earlier. So that's kind of the process from beginning to end. Back to the slides. So the technology I mentioned, the larger zip is that larger drone that's pictured up above that will stay at 300 feet at all times, and then the smaller droid is what's lowered down on a winch. And that's really to provide a seamless and integrated experience for customers. The zip in of itself is 10 times faster than a car, so it can travel up to 70 miles per hour. And the service radius that we're looking at will probably be starting at about a 2-mile radius, as you can see pictured on the map. And then overall, we will be expanded to about a 10-mile radius, which is our maximum service range. So the payload is up to 8 pounds, and I'm going to dive into what fits inside of the droid right now. The droid is about the size of a small cooler, and it's also insulated, so it can keep hot products hot, cold products cool, we've actually tested 24 donuts inside of the droid, or 12 8-inch sandwiches, or dinner for the whole family. So this isn't going to replace your weekly grocery run, but it's enough to order dinner in under 30 minutes, or 8 pounds of beef brisket is good enough for a nice barbecue. So we'll be able to deliver a number of other items as well, from food to electronics to health and wellness products too. Okay, so we wanted to address upfront three of the main concerns that tend to come up when we present this technology, and those relate to sound, safety, and privacy. So starting with sound, sound has been integral to the design of Platform 2 of the Zip and Joy system pretty much from the beginning. And it's been really key to us that we design a system that we would feel comfortable seeing in our own backyards. And obviously sound is a huge part of that. So to start with the architecture of the system, the fact that the larger Zip stays 300 feet in the sky, and then the smaller droid is what comes down on the Zip, means that the system is able to be a lot quieter. In addition, we have optimized the propellers on the Zip, one from a sound intensity standpoint, and then two from a sound profile standpoint. So if you think of kind of frequency and pitch, a fan at about 70 decibels is a lot nicer to listen to than an alarm clock at 70 decibels, and we've been really trying to mimic the sound more of a fan, so that's something that's been really integral to the design as well. And then lastly, we have strategic route planning and randomized flight patterns so that we're not providing repeated sound exposure to the same residences. So all of that to say, this graph to kind of show you where we're at in terms of actual decibel numbers, whether we're docking, so at the Walmart site, or whether we're delivering at a customer's location, our sound is somewhere between 53 to 64 decibels. Which, as you can see, kind of compared to the chart on the right, which are typical sounds that you might hear on a day-to-day basis, we are quieter than traffic passing by at 300 feet. And that really is intentional. We've got some of the best engineers working on this because we want to be able to blend into the background of people's everyday lives. And we know that that is going to be key to our success and expansion as well. So in terms of safety, to date, we've flown over 80 million autonomous miles. And all of that is thanks to a number of different things. Number one, how we design. I mentioned the two-part architecture. We use very reliable materials, and every critical system on the drone has redundancy. So if one part of the system were to fail, there's another part to back it up. We also do rigorous testing. We have test sites all over the US. One of our ranches in Wyoming, we test the drones really to the extreme of the cold weather envelope, and we're doing that in a bunch of different environments. And then we obviously work very closely with the FAA. We're fully certified by them, and we're working closely with them as we approach our launch here in DFW. And then finally, our flight system, we have a Flight IQ, which is our autonomy and perception suite. So I'll dive into that in a little bit more detail here. And it's really a system similar to cars, how they have backup cameras on them. We have Flight IQ, which allows us to make deliveries very smartly and safely. And Flight IQ is just essentially another way of explaining the technology that we use. That's a combination of hardware and firmware and software that allows us to understand the space where we fly and deliver. So we pretty much almost create like a 3D map of the area where we're going to be delivering to. And that allows us to understand objects on the ground and objects obviously in the air as well. So we, as I mentioned about sound, we also know privacy is key, and in order to scale, we wanted to really make sure we're building a system that we feel comfortable with seeing ourselves. So for example, we apply industry standard tools to blur faces, and we can't identify individuals or read license plates. Okay, so diving into the infrastructure and what it actually looks like on the ground, this is obviously the main component of the approvals here today. So pictured on the left is a rendering of the loading stations. Those are the two stations that you saw planned further south. And those are where a Walmart associate would essentially come out and load a package into this portal. So instead of loading a package into a car, it would be loaded into Zipline's drone delivery system. So that's the rendering on the left. This is not site-specific to Lewisville. This is just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. And then pictured on the right are the charging stations. There'll be 9 of them. And those is where the Zips will come and charge and upload data. And that area is going to be fenced off as well, and will really only be accessed by Zipline maintenance technicians during maintenance operations. So last but not least, we want to make sure that infrastructure that you saw, people are not seeing it for the first time when it's installed on site. So we take community engagement really seriously, and we want to make sure that we're talking to the local community, we're engaging with HOAs, with different drone delivery groups that might be interested in drone delivery, and just making sure that the community is aware of what's happening. So we'll be hosting local events, participating in events around Lewisville, and we also are very proud of the STEM engagement that we've done. So you might be trying to read the quote on the screen here. I'll read it out. It says, "Thank you for coming in. I like how you're not just trying to change the world, but actually doing something to change the world." So we're really proud of not only the fact that we invested in STEM programs, but we've already seen a tremendous impact in inspiring the younger generation to consider careers in STEM or technology. So that's what I have to share today. And we have put an email address here on the screen, but we're obviously here to answer any questions, both on the Walmart side, site plan, and on the technology. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Commissioners?
I have a question for Walmart. So this is a different service and technology than what's being used at Main Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay, was there a reason why you guys switched to different?
Yep, so we basically are looking at several different factors, and basically each one of our drone providers have their own unique capabilities. And so with Zipline, we think this is going to be a really great piece of tech to bring to Lewisville as well.
Is Main Street going to eventually switch to Zipline or not, or they're going to stay with the
Both providers would operate in Lewisville for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Just for additional context, we've been working with Wing recently as well, because they were issued alternative standards approximately a year ago, and they're renewing those, or they're applying for those again, but with the intent that they would bring their site up to the drone ordinance once we have it drafted and passed through P&Z and Council.
All right.
Just to follow that up, so you're evaluating technology. So you'll be able to see which one works, roll out. It's kind of like the VHS beta.
Absolutely, and I would also say that Walmart typically likes to diversify its approach and not put all its eggs in one basket as well.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
In terms of the service envelope, the last time we had a presentation, one of the things that stuck with me was the wind requirements and the wind envelope.
Oh,
does this technology change that? And what has the experience been so far for, it gets windy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Texas has got a really great environment for us to be able to test quite a few things, but just to make sure I bring the best expert up, it's going to be for Stephanie to speak on the Zip.
Yeah, so I mentioned the testing. We are testing the Zips in really some of the most extreme conditions. So we're able to find very high winds, for example, light icing, heavy precipitation. So that's something that we will be able to master and to handle.
Okay.
Yep.
In terms of the interoperability with, say, a life flight or things, say there's a cardiac event at Walmart, what happens when a helicopter tries to land in the parking lot?
Yeah, so that is part of kind of the community engagement that I mentioned is we will definitely be doing a lot of outreach with both police departments, fire departments, any sort of airports or helipads, helicopter areas in the vicinity to make sure that one, we're making contact with them, we're letting them know where we're going to be operating, and then that's to make sure that we're just coordinating and that they're aware of us first and foremost. So we'll understand what their typical flight paths are, where they're going to be landing. And then our Zips are also equipped with a technology that allows them to detect and avoid. So they would be able to detect, for example, if there was a helicopter, because they have a technology on board that allows them to read essentially that there is a helicopter in the area.
Interesting to think about.
For sure.
Definitely.
I have one more question in terms of the site design. Was the State Highway 121, that is a very complex intersection.
Yes.
Is there any special requirement that had to go into your thought process for placement on the site in relationship to the access road, the frontage road shape in that area?
Yeah, so at least the charging towers in the back, we are adding retaining walls, so the towers themselves are about 10 feet lower than the existing grade there. So will be partially hidden, and then plus the trees, it should be able to get mostly covered, but as staff mentioned, there will still be times along the road that you might be able to see the towers, but we are trying to do the best we can to try to shield it with the landscaping that we are adding.
But there was no setback associated with the highway?
No, yes, so there are setbacks requirements, and we're outside of any setbacks that are currently on site.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioners?
Can I back you up like a slide or two to the docking station? Are those LED lights that are on the docking stations?
No, I think what you're looking at is the
The little squares.
The squares that you see? Yeah, so those are fiducials, which essentially, they're almost like a QR code, if you can
Okay,
imagine,
okay.
so that the zips can read where they need to land. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
I have one question too. There, at the 3040 Walmart, there's the new delivery area that's not been used. Are they going to be close to that?
Yes. Oh, the site plan, sorry.
Yes, yes, it will be close to that.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff in one place.
Yes, correct. We're still out of the way of where the direct, path of travel will be. But there's enough space in that sidewalk area that we're adding it where there's still space available for the cars to go deliver to the cars themselves and then deliver to the loading towers.
Thank you.
One last question, in terms of the neighboring land uses, I believe, does that back up to the Mary Kay facility? Have they been
Yes, it
interacted
does.
with?
We're talking about the property just behind the Walmart itself.
We interacted with them.
Or there's a map, I think,
Oh,
we
yeah.
included at
Mary
the,
Kay is right behind you.
oh, well, sorry, that's in the,
Yeah,
not
actually,
in the
In the
packet.
staff memo.
Yeah,
I
stopped
know
by
that-
today and I
that's-
saw them back there.
That's a big facility, it has a lot of business.
Oh,
But to answer your question, yes, the Mary Kay is directly behind
Yeah.
the Walmart there. So that building south, directly south.
I'm trying to see. No. Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
There you go. So it looks like their loading dock be back there, right by Mary Kay.
And the considerable setback between our property and their property with that green space there and the elevation difference from their side to our side.
Questions? Comments? Close the regular hearing. And ladies and gentlemen, I will take
Thank you.
a motion.
Just moved to recommend approval of the alternative standard as presented.
Second.
Was that Ainsley? Okay.
Josh.
Was Josh? Okay. Motion by Jack, second by Josh. Vote now. Motion carries 6-0.
Commissioners, this item will appear on the agenda of the City Council on Monday, December the 16th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. for a second regular hearing and a final decision. Thank you.
Thank you. D on the agenda is announcements. You have an announcement, Richard?
No announcements this evening.
No
Thank you.
announcements? Happy Thanksgiving?
The only thing I do want to remind the commissioners on Monday, December the 2nd, we will be hosting the celebration for the Backyard Cottage competition. So make sure you mark your calendars for that.
And gingerbread houses.
Absolutely.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Francis, second by Aaron. Vote now. Vote carries 6-0. We are adjourned. And we got new notepads.
I didn't. Maybe I should use my.